What's good, everybody? The Washington Wizards are in the process of maybe potentially moving over to the Commonwealth of Virginia. So we were definitely going to talk about that. Jordan Poole to the Chicago Bears, or the Bulls, excuse me. Intriguing trade, especially for our first round pick. So we're going to definitely talk about that. And then we're going to end the show looking at a preview for tomorrow night's preview of the New Orleans Pelicans game in D.C. So rock with your boys next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Scott again, and I'm here with my boy, the real Ed Oliver. And we definitely appreciate you guys making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. And tonight's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. So we got a lot to talk about tonight. Potential move to the Commonwealth of Virginia for the Washington Wizards and the Washington Capitals. Jordan Poole to the Bulls, not the Bears, that is, but the Chicago Bulls for a potential first-round pick. And we're going to end the show with a preview for tomorrow night's game against the New Orleans Pelicans. So let's get into it, E. Hot topic right now, not only in the regional news, but in the nation's news, man. Looking at the specifics real quick, Miami Number One Sports and Washington Wizards owner Ted Leonsis plans to join Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin in Alexandria, Virginia, for a news conference on Wednesday to unveil plans for a proposed new arena complex and entertainment district for the Wizards and the National Hockey League's Washington Capitals. So, but looking at this deal, E, sources say DC is still in the running, but as we all know, anybody from the DMV knows that there's a lot of money in Northern Virginia. And if you look at the fact that Ted Leonsis did ask the DC City Council for $600 million to refurbish the Capital One Center or arena, that is. What is the percentage of a chance that you see the Washington Wizards moving to the Commonwealth of Virginia? And what factors do you think really led to this even being a possibility?
Yeah, I do think there's a strong chance. Of course, there's a lot of news reports. Now Woj has tweeted about it. He tweeted about it about an hour ago. He says Monumental Sports in Washington Wizards owner Ted Leonsis plan to join Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin in Alexandria, Virginia, for a news conference on Wednesday to unveil plans for a proposed new arena complex and entertainment district for Wizards and in NHL's capital. So now Woj is on it. He's reporting it. So also somebody named Tom Sherwood tweeted out goodbye Caps and Wizards deal with Virginia being announced tomorrow morning at Potomac Yards, where celebratory announcement tents are being prepared now. A significant blow to DC and its ailing downtown. Sad part is it could have been avoided if the city had acted. That's what Tom Sherwood tweeted out. Now, Tom Sherwood, he is an analyst on 88.5 radio, Washington City paper. So he has about 29.5 followers on Twitter as well. So we'll see if he's telling the truth or not tomorrow. I don't know if they're going to be out there cutting down a ribbon and announcing that they're moving to Virginia. We'll see how true that is. But it seems like, I mean, there's some traction to this for sure. There's some legs to it. I mean, if they're doing all this, they're not wasting their time to do this. Now, Mariel Bowser, she's putting in a proposal from what I'm reading and hearing over the summer. She submitted a stronger proposal to keep them in D.C. We know how the city is it's going downhill as far as there's a lot of crime. The crime is going up. You know, young teens stealing cars left and right. Even Brian Robinson, the commander, he got shot, from a carjacking. Yeah. The McDonald's and gallery place got closed because there's so much illegal, drug use and just crime, except a whole bunch of stuff going on. The McDonald's got closed down. That was a bad sign because, McDonald's is always making money to the point where they close that down right on the corner of Gallery Place. So if they leave D.C., if they leave Gallery Place where Abe Poland, you got a street named after him, the team moved there, MCI Center, just it revitalized that part of the city. So to see the stadium just leave or the teams leave and it just be a bare stadium, the town, that part of Gallery Place is going to get worse and worse. And a lot of jobs are going to go down, restaurants, revenue. A lot of revenue is going to go down if the team leaves, which would be unfortunate for the city of DC in that part for sure. Virginia, that part, Potomac Yards, I'm not too familiar with it. I'm a Maryland and DC guy. I don't really move to the parts of Virginia. I know you're a Virginia guy, so we know it's super expensive, but we know Ted is asking for $600 million to renovate the stadium and upgrade it. Yes, the stadium does need upgrades. It's been there since 1997. It's not a bad stadium, but it's been there for a while. He's trying to upgrade it, which I understand as an owner. That's what you're supposed to do. So, it would be unfortunate. The ideal thing is to have the team in the city that they're playing in. Of course, a lot of teams like the Giants are in New Jersey. There's a lot of teams that are not in the actual city. Of course, the Commanders are in Maryland. They're the Washington Commanders, but they're in Landover, Maryland. The facilities are Virginia. But it'd be unfortunate. The traffic is the traffic's not great in DC, but the traffic would be worse in that part of Virginia for sure. The traffic is just tough in Northern Virginia for sure. So it would be unfortunate. It would be a tougher commute for some people. Probably an easier commute for you, but Ted, he it sounds like he really wants to move the team, or this could be a negotiating tactic where he wants a bigger deal from Bowser in DC. Now, Bowser, she really is adamant about getting the Commanders to DC and RFK, so he may be like, hey, I want you to show that same energy for me and the Wizards and really put up some money for the Wizards, to stay there. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, man. A big announcement tomorrow. I'm intrigued to see what happens.
Yeah, I'll be totally honest, man, and I'm gonna look at everything through the lens of through sports. There's obviously not a political outlet, so I'm gonna refrain from the politics side of it. But looking at it, I'm not surprised, man, and it's unfortunate because I truly believe that it was avoidable. Virginia cat, country boy from Virginia, from North Virginia, man. The first taste I got of DC, man, I was hooked. I've been a DC guy since growing up, man. I love the city. I love everything about DC. I love the culture. I'm a DC guy, man. But looking at this, we know what the position the city's in right now. We know that crime right now is up. It's at a 25-year high right now. Murder, carjackings, the whole nine, robbery. These are issues that we're facing in the district. For you viewers and listeners who are from DC, you know exactly, you know what I'm talking about. And then on the flip side, man, on the Virginia side, look, North Virginia, man, the last 30 years is the fastest growing area in the country. And I believe now it's Charlotte, North Carolina. But, the sports side now is leaking into the political side because now, you got teams that are threatening to leave. And if you look at the dynamics of the area where they're trying to go, Potomac, it is, man, it's high price. I mean, I'm from Virginia, but I don't go into Northern Virginia too much because it's a very, very high priced area. But I'm not surprised, man, because you mentioned the E. Me and you have gone to many Wizards games, and we both grew up in the area. And the area is synonymous with poverty. It's synonymous with, I mean, let's be real. You very well could see a bum and a crackhead on the way into the arena. I mean, that's real talk. I mean, it is sad because, we were talking about it before the show, man. Whereas downtown is usually your money spot when any major city. That's supposed to be if anywhere in the city is nice, is downtown, or I guess rather uptown in this example, because it'd be Northwest. But the center of the city is where you see, where a lot of money is made for a lot of cities, and you just don't see it with DC. So I'm not surprised, man. Now I do believe I do believe there's a very strong possibility they go to Virginia, but you're right. I think that I was thinking this also that this could be a ploy by Ted Leonsis to get that $600 million to refurbish the Capital One Center. But here's the thing, man. It's like putting lipstick on a pig. Even if you get that $600 million, man, if you don't invest in the surrounding area, I mean, it's all for nothing because you still have to go through that area to go to the arena. And people, let's be real. Like I said, I love DC, man, but let's be totally 100 here, man. Somebody who's trying to take their kids to a Wizards game is not going to be willing to do that if there's fear that they might get carjacked or somebody's going to take a pot shot at them. I mean, I'm just saying, these are issues that has to be addressed for this team to stay here because now we're shifting outside of sports. It has a lot to do with a lot of factors. And like I said, I'm not going to get into that, but, it's a very real possibility. And I think that this should be a wake-up call to DC City Council and the DC local government and say, look, teams are being real. We will leave if you do not put money into the areas, man, because, again, if you look at FedEx Field, there's apartment buildings outside of FedEx Field, but outside of that, not much money has really been put into that area. And I know you're a PG kind of guy, man, so you know the area around FedEx, man. So I think that with a Capital One And I know with FedEx, man, they need to put some money into their areas, man. They really do. They got to really put some money into keeping these teams in DC because, like you said, there's a lot of examples. NBA, Detroit Pistons technically do not play in Detroit. They play in Auburn Hills, which is a suburb of Detroit. So it's a possibility. And so I hope this is a wake-up call because it's really disparaging to see a Washington team playing in another state. I firmly want the Commanders to be back in DC. Look, Maryland has the Baltimore Ravens. Let them have the Ravens. It's time for DC's football team to come back home. And with the Wizards and the Capitals, man, that would be a major blow. It really was because there's a lot of history here, especially looking at the former owner. It would be a blow, but it's a very, very real possibility, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and another interesting part is that they made the deal with Qatar. They made that deal over the off season. So, we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, and Muriel Bowser, for the people that don't know, who are not from the area, she is the mayor of DC. So, she's been very adamant about the Commanders coming to DC. So, she definitely has to show that urgency with making a deal for the Wizards to stay in DC personally. And it's not just the Wizards too, the Capitals. Capitals fans are going to be affected as well. So I know there's a lot of Caps fans in Virginia for sure, but do people want to make that commute out to Potomac Yards or Crystal City? That part of Northern Virginia. I know it's not super far from where the stadium is right now. I got to look it up and kind of see because I haven't even. I don't really go to Potomac Yards like that at all. So how far is it from the stadium right now?
On a good day with traffic, it's probably a 30-minute drive just because you got to go across the bridges. You got to go across Anacostia. So, But I mean, you're right there on Constitution. If you're coming over from Alexandria, Arlington, you go across Constitution into DC, you're right around the corner for Capital One. So, will it really impact people getting to the games per se? Not really, because it will still be metro access, which is the key factor. As long as you have metro access, it's money. But it's just, I think from a historical standpoint, it's just this illuminates issues that they have in the city, man. And it's sad because to see your pro teams leave, man, it's not a good sign. And like I said, from a guy who has been in love with DC my whole life, man, I don't personally want to see the Wizards and the Caps leave, but money talks, and there's a lot of money in Northern Virginia, man. Let me tell you, and there's a very real possibility, in my opinion. So.
So yeah, it would add another 30 minutes of more traffic, which, it's already a nice commute, a nice long commute for people already. So you don't want to add on more time to it for sure. So, we'll see tomorrow. I'm excited to see what happens, man, because I know it's going to be an uproar, man. People going to go crazy if this really does happen. And nothing may happen tomorrow, but, as somebody said, the Tom Sherwood reported that there are tents being set up. So sounds like something is in the air, like something is going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, before we roll, man, and roll into another subject, man. Shout out to Rick Steiner, man. Rick Steiner's Washington YouTube channel. He said that there was previously a deal with when Jack King Cook was owner of the former name of the Commanders, but and that they were this close to moving to Virginia at one point, and the deal didn't go through, and DC came through at the last minute. So it's not 100%. Yeah, but like I said, I hope this experience really shines light on what needs to happen in DC, man. So DC could be that place where people can feel safe to bring the kids to watch a game. That's why I'm coming, because I mean, beautiful city, beautiful culture. We got to fix it up, man. Like I said, I love DC, so I'm hoping this is a wake up call. So moving on, we're gonna talk about some Jordan Poole and how the pool party just has not started in DC yet. We have a potential trade package sending him to Chicago, so we're gonna look at that next. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by eBay Motors. So our partners at eBay Motors have teamed up with Locked On Fantasy Basketball host Josh Lloyd to bring you some of the best fantasy picks each week, all season long. Whether you're prepping for a daily draft or scouting the waiver wire, each week we're going to provide you with players that are guaranteed to fit on your roster. So let's see who Josh has picked out for us this week on eBay's Guarantee Fit Fantasy Picks of the Week. And there's some interesting names. Isaiah Hartenstein, man, with Mitch Robinson out 8 to 10 weeks. Hartenstein is a guy I look to even he's going to get significant minutes, man. And definitely he's going to close the game on Monday. So look at Isaiah Hartenstein. Dante Exum. The Mavs are stuck down with injuries. And while that is the case, Exum looks like a solid addition to your team on fantasy if you need that scoring boost. One big name for me, Keontae George out of Baylor. He had a big game on Monday. But if you look at his stat line, man, he is currently averaging 11.5 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. So if you need some bench points and some assists off the bench for you on your waiver wire, definitely consider Keontae Jordan, because he is lighting it up right now. And a couple more names, Oscar Thompson. If Thompson is dropped, definitely go grab him. I'm trying to tell you, because if you definitely need a couple guys on the waiver wire like I do, Lord, he is back in the starting lineup, and hopefully Monty Wings will realize his error of not giving him significant playing time. And finally, Jonathan Kuminga, a bit of a left field pick, but he is actually starting to really look good. Last couple of games, man, he has looked really, really good. So definitely consider Jonathan Kuminga, especially in the rebound department and blocks, because he is a defensive guy. So definitely look at him. But Josh Lloyd from Locked On Fantasy Basketball is going to help you win your fantasy championship. And the eBay Motors knows a championship team is about each player being the perfect fit. Same with your vehicle. So definitely consider eBay Motors. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you can make sure that your ride stays running smoothly. Brake kits, LED lights, roof rack, bumpers, whatever your baby needs, eBay Motors has it. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time, or your money back. Plus, at these prices, man, look, you're burning rubber, not cash. So keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. And Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day. The local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national 24/7 streaming channel. So, moving on, man. There was a trade proposal, and I've seen this trade a few times, and it's very, very interesting trade. And the trade proposal is this: sending Jordan Poole to the Chicago Bulls for Lonzo Ball's contract and this year's number one pick for the Chicago Bulls. So, how you feeling about that trade? You think that the number one pick in this year's draft for the Chicago Bulls is worth taking on Lonzo Ball's contract and offloading Jordan Poole's contract?
It's a tough one, man, because it's unfortunate how the Jordan Poole situation has played out this season so far. He just hasn't lived up to expectations. Wildly inconsistent. We knew coming in he wasn't a great defender, but just some of the Shaq and the Poole moments, just not focused at some points. Yeah, he's been more focused as far as like looking at the playbook and looking at Wes Unseld Jr.'s plays on the sidelines. Just like body language has certainly improved from what it was in the first couple games of the season, but still very underwhelming. And his trade value has gone down. It's probably as low. It's like is pretty bad right now at this point. So getting a first would be good. You would probably have to take back a bad contract as far as Lonzo Ball, a guy who hasn't played for 2 years now, and honestly, his career is really up in the air. I know the reports were that his big baller brand shoes didn't help his feet out at all, or his ankles, and that was a big part in him or his knee and him not being able to play the last 2 seasons. And we know that him going back and forth with Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith said that Lonzo Ball could barely. He struggled to sit down and get back up, and Lonzo Ball made a video kind of going back and forth with Stephen A. Smith, but it's like he still hasn't played in the last couple of years, which is very concerning. But we know in the past that the Thunder would take on bad contracts and just to load up on picks. Like they took on Al Horford's contract to get a pick. So we've seen the Thunder, because Will Dawkins is a Thunder disciple. Same thing with Michael Winger. Both these guys came from the Thunder. So that's a Oklahoma City Thunder way of doing things, a way of rebuilding. Now, Lonzo Ball, he's a free agent in 2025. He has a player option 24-25. So he actually doesn't have many years left on his contract. That is a good thing. Of course, he's going to pick up that player option for next year. It's $21 million. So his contract's it's bad only because He just has not been available. We don't even know if he's going to play next year. Next year is up in jeopardy too. He's been out so long.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jordan Poole, it is almost to that point where they're going to be begging teams to pick up the phone and make a deal with him. That's just how low his trade value is. As far as like Kuzma's trade value, I think is pretty solid at this point. But as far as Poole, yeah, it's to the point where we're having this conversation right now.
Yeah.
It's like, what can you really get for him? Jordan Poole is making about what, $28 million. Let me look at Jordan Poole's contract real quick here. So yeah, it's unfortunate to the point where you 4 years, $128 million for Jordan Poole. So Jordan Poole's gonna be making 31 mil. Jordan Poole's gonna be making 29 mil in 24-25, 31 mil in 25-26, 34 mil in 26-27. So he's not gonna be a free agent until 2027. So yeah, Jordan Poole's contract is not attractive at all, especially the way that he's playing right now. So yeah, it's something to consider. I would look for a better deal than just Lonzo in a first, but in looking at the Bulls roster right now, they are trying to offload guys and get rid of players. They do have Pat Williams. We talked about Pat Williams. So, yeah, they don't really have anybody attractive other than – I do like the way Kobe White is playing. I think Kobe White is playing well, but I don't think the Bulls are going to trade him because he's playing really good ball right now.
Yeah.
So, I probably wouldn't take the trade right now, but it's something to consider around the trade deadline in February.
I'll say this, man. Right now, I'm going to say no. Closer to the deadline, I'm going to say yes. Because once Chicago starts offloading some of these contracts like Vucevic, Levine, DeRozan, then they're slated to be a pretty bad team. So I'm going to say yeah, because if you can add, I've been saying this, I said it last year's draft, and I'm going to say this going into this draft. I believe we need to go into the draft with another lottery pick. Because, again, if you can come out of this draft with a center and a point guard, I think we are good place after the draft, especially with what we already have, which is long-term Bilal and Denny. And we'll see about everybody else. But I think it's a good deal, because if like you said, you're looking at a player option. If I'm Lonzo, I'm going to enact that player option because I'm going to get paid to sit at the house. But even then, it's 1 year. We're in a rebuild, so that 35, because I believe his cap hit is 35 million. I mean, that for 1 year where we're not going to be competitive, I'll take that because it's the first round pick. Because I mean, by moving Levine, by moving DeRozan, Vucevic, man, they're going to get some picks back. So I think this is a good pick, man. Chicago, after they make those moves, because I think they're going to eventually blow it up, man. Right now they're talking a lot of teams, seeing what the right fit is, but it behooves the Chicago Bulls to blow it up because they're kind of like where we were with Bradley Beal and KP. Like, what are we doing? Like, we need to make a decision here. And I think they need to go ahead and push that reset button, man, like we did. So, yeah, I'm definitely making a move. Jordan, here's the thing, though. Like we've been saying, I don't think it's a question of do we say yes? Does the Chicago Bulls say yes? Because again, right now, Jordan Poole doesn't have a lot of value, and yeah, they might be rebuilding, but why would they want the headache? Like and I'm just being real. I'm being 100. Like, why would they want the headache of Jordan Poole? Like, is a first round pick really that amount to say that amount of compensation to deal with a guy who has some maturing to do. And I guess you can't really say change of scenery because he's been here like how many games? Like 22 games. So it's not so much of a change of scenery because he ain't been here 1 year. So I think that we need to build his value up. But if the opportunity is there at the deadline, yes, absolutely. Because if you can go going into this draft, man, if you have another pick, that is money, man, especially for a rebuilding team like the Wizards.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah. So it has gotten to the point where you have to have the conversation for sure. Lonzo Ball, he's a solid player whenever he's healthy. He just has not been healthy for the last 2 to 3 years. It's unfortunate the way his career is going. But yeah, no, I would definitely look at some other options. And you're not going to get much at this point. I know there's not a lot of teams probably picking up the phone or really calling for Jordan Poole at this point. Maybe as a 6-man coming off the bench, you're just like, do you really want to give up a first round pick for that?
Yeah.
I think we would be not lucky to get a first round pick for Jordan Poole at this point, but we would be fortunate to get a first. It would probably be like a 3-team deal, kind of like what we got for Porzingis, where we ended up with Tyus in a second. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now. You would get for Jordan Poole at this point, because we traded Chris Paul, an aging Chris Paul, for Jordan Poole. So it'd probably be something similar to that, where Lonzo Ball, to the point where his knees and his ankles are so bad, to the point where he is kind of like he's a 30-year-old veteran, at this point, where it's just so many injuries he suffered. It's unfortunate. So, but yeah, I'm interested to see what Jordan, because we know we've come to the conclusion Jordan Poole's not going to be here next year.
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued to see Will Dawkins and Michael Wingers, Travis Lane. They have a lot on their hands, man. They got a lot of work to do with some of these guys and making deals, man. They got their hands full with making the deal for Jordan Poole for sure.
Yeah, they got a monumental task. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So, so we're gonna go ahead and slide into the preview for tomorrow night's game at home versus the New Orleans Pelicans. But before we do, Ed's gonna holler at us about game time tonight.
Yes, sir. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. You shouldn't have to worry when you're buying tickets to your next big event. Gametime is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you, with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee. Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Last-minute tickets, flash deals, and zone deals as well. Gametime has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event and even an hour before it starts. It's the place to find last-minute seats, find exclusive flash deals, and sponsored deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and even more. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. It's LOCKEDONNBA.
Absolutely. So before we roll tonight, we're gonna do a preview for tomorrow night's game against the New Orleans Pelicans. So look at the time, man. We're getting a little close. So going out, man. What matchup are you looking forward to tomorrow night? Now, looking at the depth chart real quick, I mean, Zion Williamson is day to day, so we'll see. Is a game time decision on him. But I mean, Valanciunas, man, again, a Wizards killer. Right now they got Herb Jones at small forward. Brandon Ingram playing the two, which I don't really understand that. I would have him on the wing, but that's another conversation. And CJ McCollum at point guard. So what matchup are you looking forward to tomorrow night?
Definitely whoever's guarding Zion and Brandon Ingram. They have a lot of guys. They have a deep team. CJ McCollum as well. So they got a deep team. Like who's going to be guarding Zion is going to be Denny. Remember when Denny did a good job on Brandon Ingram a couple years ago? So can he do that again? Like he did two seasons ago. But yeah, whoever's guarding Zion, that's going to be a tough task. He just came off a big game. He was called out. Media was calling him fat. They've been calling him fat forever. But he didn't play well in the in-season tournament. He had a couple stinkers where he didn't play well. He didn't look focused. He definitely looked focused the other game last night that they played. And is Gaffer going to play? He's still questionable, but Zion is questionable as well. So he may not even play. But yeah, I would definitely say those matchups right there. Really just Ingram and of course, you got to look at the bigs. Valanciunas is a guy that certainly has hurt the Wizards his fair share of his career. He's gotten easy double-doubles. If Gaffer plays or if not, it's still going to be it probably will be a double-double for Giannis Valanciunas. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, the Pelicans just beat the Timberwolves 121-107. The Timberwolves are a pretty good team. I mean, they're 17-5, so they just beat a legitimate playoff team. Zion had 36. He went 13 for 17 from the field, 10 for 12 from the free throw line. So I could certainly see him do that again. Brandon Ingram had 20. Valanciunas had 14 and 13. And I could see him easily getting a double-double. CJ McCollum had 23. Trey Murphy, the third, who was in the same draft as Corey Kispert, he had 10 points off the bench. So they're a deep team. Herbert Jones, he's scrappy. He had 7 rebounds. I mean, he had 10 rebounds, 5 assists, and 7 points. So this has blowout potential, man. This is another game where it could be a blowout. This could be a game again where they're waving a white flag, because this is a bad matchup for the Wizards. The Pelicans are a physical team. Zion is a physical player. Valanciunas is a physical player. Ingram can shoot and score. McCollum can shoot and score and get to the basket. Trey Murphy can come off the bench and shoot the three. Even Dyson Daniels, who a lot of Wizards fans wanted to draft. He's a versatile player. So Jordan Hawkins, who's from the DMV, he can shoot the three really well. Alvarado scrappy. Yeah, this is a really bad matchup for the Wizards. Yeah. This is not good.
No.
I mean, you can say it about every team, but this is not a good matchup for the Wizards.
Nah, no bueno. Not good. I guess I think that this is definitely a game where Wes Unseld Jr. can kind of mix and match, make it a tall lineup. Maybe consider seeing what Bilal Coulibaly can do at the 2. Saying go and make it a tall lineup. That's where I'm at. Gafford at the 5, Kuz, Denny, see what Bilal can do at the 2, and start Jordan Poole at point guard. Because I think one of the things with the season being, I'm not gonna call it the first year of the rebuild, it's a transitional year, but mix and match, man. That's why I said I want to see a lot more of that from Wes Unseld, man. Mix and match, game plan. Don't roll out the same lineup every game. The game plan, because if you look at their starting 5, it's a tall lineup, man. I mean, Herb Jones is 6'7". Brandon Ingram is up there. I mean, CJ McCollum is 6'3", so he's around your average. I mean, but really, still got a little size for a point guard. But I mean, Zion, he's a beast. So that's gonna be interesting to see who they roll out against Zion, man, because he's just such a beast. And then Valanciunas, man, he always cooks us. So that's definitely gonna be a big matchup for Gaff, man, because Valanciunas is a guy who can spread the floor. He can sit out there and he can hit threes. So he's definitely gonna lure Gaff out of the paint. So to me, they're going to attack the paint, which I would, because we're a bad rebounding team. We can't guard the paint. So, I think the game plan is, if I was the Pelicans, I would lure Gaff out, definitely keep him around the perimeter and eat up the paint. But yeah, I'm definitely think this is a game where see what Bilal can do starting at the 2. Give Jordan Poole the ball for point guard for this game and see what he can do, push space and see what we can do. But this is an ugly game for us, man. I mean, I don't see us winning this. I mean, New Orleans, man, they looking solid. I mean, I think they look so good without Zion that I think he may be a dark horse to get moved at the deadline. Because, I mean, if you look at the squad, because Zion, we know what his issues are. Can't put the fork down. He's been put on notice, this year, that saying that, you need to get in shape. Or, I think that they have to sell low. In my opinion, I think this is the perfect opportunity to move Zion. Because look at their starting 5. McCollum, Ingram, Jones. They got a nice squad. So, yeah, I'm going to say this is a loss, man, but I want to see Bilal at 2 guard. So that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, and McCollum, he just came back from a collapsed lung.
Yeah.
Zion, he's had his struggles with, diet and whatnot, and he had the whole thing with the some off the court things that I won't get into with, some women and some ladies for sure. But we'll keep it basketball for sure. But yeah, as far as Bilal, yeah, I want to see him, matched up against Zion. I think that would be an interesting matchup because Zion has about 100 pounds on Bilal.
Yeah.
So I know Zion's going to try to post him up and take him to the basket for sure. Denny, how is he going to defend Zion? That's going to be huge. Same thing with Brandon Ingram. But just ball movement, doing their best to rebound, keep these guys off the board, play with some physicality.
Yeah.
Even if Gallo's in there, Muscala, just play with some physicality, play with some toughness. Do your best to rebound the ball because they certainly will try to push the Wizards around and get some offensive boards, putbacks, and all kinds of stuff. So, this game is going to be about toughness and physicality, which is a tough matchup for the Wizards. They get to the free throw line a lot because of Zion for sure. Right now, the Pelicans, they're like top 10 in free throw attempts. Same thing as with the Sixers. Yeah, they're 4th in free throw attempts with 25th in free throw percentage. So defending without foul is going to be huge. Walling up with Zion. I do remember when Gafford blocked Zion. He blocked Zion twice. Gafford's first year here.
Yeah.
And let's see if he can keep it up and do that. So that's just the big thing for me. Tyus has to play well. We'll see if Johnny Davis is back, Shamet, and some other guys. They're not going to, push the Wizards to win, but I do want to see Shamet. Shamet helps. He does. He makes them a little bit more competitive. So I do want to see some guys get healthy. Shamet, Johnny, Gafford. We'll see if he plays. So just try to keep this competitive, and Denny and Bilal improve. That's all the things I'm looking for.
Yeah, same here, man. So we're going to go ahead and roll tonight. Definitely appreciate everybody. Tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, the Washington Wizards are hosting the New Orleans Pelicans. And for you bettors out there, the Pelicans are 7.5 favorites to win. I kind of see that happen. So again, for you bettors, man, Valanciunas rebounds. Definitely take a look because he's definitely going to feast in DC tomorrow night. So again, appreciate you guys, man. Wherever you get your podcast, 5-star review is much appreciated. And on the YouTube side, man, like, subscribe. Definitely. If you're not a member of Locked On Wizards, man, definitely consider joining us, man. We got a lot of good content rolling your way. We might be rebuilding, man, but we still chopping it up over here at Locked On Wizards. So again, appreciate everybody, man. We will be doing a live recap tomorrow night following the Wizards matchup versus the New Orleans Pelicans. So definitely tune in, and we're going to be answering questions and having the ball, man. So appreciate everybody. Hail to the Wizards and peace. See everybody tomorrow night.